Hi, everybody. This is Sue Rhoades with Adventures into Sovereignty. And as we've been talking about, we're going into all kinds of sovereignty this year. And we're going to focus on people who are not only acting, walking sovereign, they're talking sovereign, and they're doing sovereign. And one of them that I am so impressed with, that I've become friends with, is Wade Lillico. He is in Saskatchewan, and he is doing amazing things with just a 3-acre garden. Hi, Wade. How are you?
Hi, Sue. Excellent. Yourself?
I'm doing good. It's really nice to
Excellent.
talk to you again. I am so amazed at what you've been doing. Um, our conversation the other night entailed where you're at now with the 3-acre garden, that you are actually getting kind of investors. You're getting people that are ordering your food now because they like it so much and they want to support what you're doing. What I would like to do, though, is go back to how this all started in your head. To be broad, I'm going to Wade is on and his wife are on a 3-acre plot. They have a 3-acre garden that they are producing vegetables with, and that they have started out giving to the community. And now they're getting people actually ordering ahead of time, and they're ordering their food by the pound. And Wade and his wife work, it's backbreaking work, but what they're doing is so vital to us as a society and as a community. He can actually change his entire community with what he's doing, just by competing with the big grocery stores, because nobody's going to want the GMO food, label food, when they can go over to Wade's place and get it for $1 a pound in fresh and organic and right off the vine. So, Wade, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself and how you came to get to this point?
Well, I come from a pretty traditional background as far as this neighborhood goes. I spent 30 years in a terrible position in the oil industry. Never sat right. I left that industry just because it didn't feel right. The the work is fine, but what it's doing, where it's going, all that stuff, I just couldn't do it anymore. So we had found this little place in Saskatchewan called Loverna, and it's an abandoned rail town, abandoned farming community. When the rail left, everybody left. One time it was 350 people, I believe. So we found this here, and the schoolyard was available through the county, so we purchased this. Total of the schoolyard plus 7 lots. So yeah, the we knew it was bigger than we needed, but we knew that we would do something with it eventually. So yeah, we moved a motorhome out, set up some solar panels, a little windmill, and started our journey off grid. That's where we started.
Wow. So you went from something back to basics, back to basically nothing, and starting over with a vision, basically.
Yeah, well, we knew we wanted to be away from the bills and all of that, and we looked at what we had as far as a retirement, the so-called retirement. Just nuts. Everything's going to places where it should have never went. So we said, okay, let's try and go back to needing nothing. And that's how the mind started. And that's basically how we conceived and got to this point.
Okay. So now you're here, and you get here, and you have this land now, and you find something that you need to do with it that will not only improve your lives possibly, but improve the lives of people around you. So tell us about that part of it. The garden. The
Well,
garden.
it started out as 3/4 of an acre.
Okay.
That was 4 years ago. We gave away everything we grew that year, other than a few essentials that we put away as best we could in a motorhome.
So did you just take that around to people and knock on their doors, or what did you do? How did you give that all away?
Well, just through friends and family and telling people that we had free vegetables, and you know, they would come out or we would deliver, and yeah, it was a wonderful experience. How couldn't you want to do that again? So
Yeah.
the next year we done the same thing. We expanded it. We expanded our gardens a little bit to an acre, and we grew it as heavy as we could. And boom, we've done it again. And by then, it wasn't just friends and family. The word had got out that we were doing free vegetables, and through one church group and a couple other people, we found yeah, there was a lot of people out there needed help. So at that point, I believe we harvested out 4,000 pounds that year.
Wow. Now, how big was the garden?
1 acre.
1 acre, and you did 4,000 pounds in that 1 year.
Correct.
Oh my! How long is the growing season there for you?
We're maximum 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, did you have to do a lot of planning for the garden, like where to put what, or you know, was there anything strategic you had to think about to get that much volume out of your garden?
The one thing that I didn't know about gardening was companion planting.
Oh.
So that took some research.
Mm-hmm.
But not very long. Maybe a week or so, and we just laid it in and went for it. One of the things that we've done and still do is we plant in triple rows very close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Of everything, other than potatoes, of course.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that increased the volume quite a bit.
Sounds like it. And who's working this garden?
Linda and I.
Your wife and yourself.
That's correct. Well, this in the beginning.
Okay.
We have a daughter, Sarah, and she come out with her 4 kids, and she spent the summer here, and you know they've helped us a lot.
That's great. That's really nice to have family come out there and do it. Especially, wow, that's 5 people. That's 5 sets of hands out there, and the kids too learning. You know,
nothing cuter than a 6-year-old just absolutely enthusiastic about this. You know,
they're sponges, aren't they?
Loves it.
When my kids were little, I had a garden. I wasn't able to keep up with too much of one, but I had one to where I could can tomatoes every year for spaghetti sauce and salsa and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I made pickles, and they liked my pickles and that kind of stuff. I gave them a part of the garden to work with. And of course, as kids, they kind of got distracted, but they always came back to it. You know, and I would say, well, you didn't tend it, so here's the weeds. You know, I can either pull them or you can pull them, but this is your stuff, so I think you ought to pull these weeds. And they didn't really care too much about it until all 3 of us went out there and did it together. You know, and it kind of became a family thing for us to do because it was just 3 of us. And then of course there was a flower garden and that kind of thing. So yeah, I those days were very enjoyable for me, and I know the kids remember that too. So, and then you were getting the help on top of that, so that's awesome. So now, what do you do with all of this food now?
Okay, well, on the 4th year, I tilled up another 1.5 acres on the other end of our property, and basically threw in just whatever, potatoes and carrots and a few root vegetables, because when the first year you till it, it's, you know, it's rough and it's not very pliable. And then I because there was so much demand for it, I started a Facebook page called Loverna Veg, and invited a few people, and they invited a few people, and they invited a few people, and Within the month, we were at 200 people on the Facebook page. And yeah, I didn't know how well we were going to produce in that initial year on that second garden. So I didn't want to tell anybody that we were going to have 8 to 10,000 pounds. But guess what happened?
You had 8 to 10,000 pounds?
Yes.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
And that, of course, that was still a free garden. We done all the work, but it was still like the vegetables were free.
Yeah. Okay. So then you got a Facebook page and you had 200 people. Are these people local, or are these people all over the country, all over the world?
No, within a half an hour.
Okay. So you got the community involved right away by Facebook,
Yes,
and also
yes,
just by being out in the community, letting people know who you were.
yes, exactly.
Okay. Sounds like you didn't have to do a whole lot that's not a whole lot of effort.
In that regards, no.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it was very effortless, to be frank. There was already a mindset, I think, that a certain percentage of the population around here was definitely wanting to have healthier food.
That seems to be the thing everywhere. You know, people are angry. I get angry when I go in the grocery store sometimes, not angry, but you know what I mean? I just roll my eyes because I think this is crap. You know, and I see the kids putting cookies and whatever, you know, Mom, I want this, I want that. And,
Right.
you know, and I see them looking at labels, but it doesn't matter. You can look at labels and you can put this one thing down, but this other thing's going to have a different thing in it. So you really don't have any choice because it all has crap in it. So you really don't have a good choice unless you're actually getting food from the farm.
No, and I mean, yeah, unless you go to a farmer's market or something like that, there is no way to know.
No.
There's no way to know. I mean, like you said, you can read the labels and you can make the best informed choices you can make, but ultimately, in the end, you don't know.
No, it's like the lesser of 3 or 4 evils that you're choosing.
Correct, yeah.
In the grocery store.
And you know, you go over to the fruit aisle and you pick up an apple and you think, you know, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
But is it really?
Yeah, right. I mean,
you know, and that's what going into my mind now. When I walk into a grocery store, what I used to levitate to was fruits and vegetables,
mm-hmm.
and rightfully so. You know, it's definitely better. And then, you know, when you pull that first carrot out of your garden, when you have the first potato meal, how quickly you realize that everything there, even the stuff that's labeled in the organic aisles and stuff like that, it's just not fresh.
Yeah, and it's not.
You know, it might not be GMO and it may not have the chemicals, I hope, but it's still not fresh.
Right. It didn't come from the backyard.
And that is 99% of our goal, truly, is from the garden to your table.
Absolutely. That's the only way to do it. It's you know, people are afraid of the work. I had, you know, a job. I was working 50 hours a week. I had an acre and a quarter of grass to mow. I was a single parent at the time and 2 little kids, but I still had my garden. And no, I couldn't have it as big as I wanted it. But, and then I eventually had to let it go. It just got too overgrown. But for a couple of years there, I had a hell of a garden going. And I used to can and the whole bit. And I missed that because I remember going down to the area that I had in my basement, and I had all the canned stuff on the shelf, and I'd send one of the kids down, go get spaghetti sauce, go get this. We had that in the wintertime, you know, and it was still tasted really good. And I really missed those days. and I would love to go back to them again. I hope to go back to them soon. You are really inspiring me to
Excellent.
do that. I'm living on 120 acres now. I do need to get out there and do that, but I'm having a lot of fun and learning a lot from interviewing people like you and talking to people like you, because I want people to see how simple it really is. It's just a matter of getting out there and maybe getting a little dirty, but the reward is so huge. And another thing that happened, we had a farmer's market in my town, and I was really excited because they only had it once a year. But then when I looked at the requirements, I found out that a lot of the farmers weren't going to it anymore. So I called the city hall and I said, where can I find the documents, the applications? I was thinking maybe it was too expensive for them, whatever.
Right.
They just to have it in the school parking lot, they had to have product liability insurance.
Correct,
they had
yeah.
to have, I think they had to be paid up on their own health insurance. And then they had to pay a fee to use the place. And if they needed lights, they had to pay for electric. And I'm thinking,
Right.
this is horrible. Product liability insurance for fresh organic food. Are you kidding me?
Well,
so I raised hell. I called them and I raised hell. You know, I understand they've lessened the specifics. I don't know that they've taken it away, but I told them, I said, are you guys nuts? Product liability insurance for fresh food?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It was just all, you know, it's just all a scam. And you know, and I heard that people were dying to go to this farmer's market every year, and they were upset because they couldn't go because there was only maybe 3 farmers that could make it.
But you know, it really doesn't fit into the corporate model.
No.
So yeah, they don't really want it.
No, they don't really want it. And then when they do have it, they want it at a profit for themselves.
Yes, and well controlled.
Yes.
You must have control over everything.
Yes.
And that's from little towns to big cities. It doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't matter. And it's all about that. And what you're doing is saying, screw the control, screw the authority. I'm going to do this. I'm going to show people that it can be done. And I'm going to show people we can be successful at it as well as making ourselves healthy. And
right.
that's what you all are doing. And I just think I commend you. I think that's just so wonderful. So tell me now, you're at year 1, and then you added the other part of the garden. Then you started
Correct.
a Facebook page and immediately had 200 people come to it.
Correct.
Where are you today?
Right now, the Facebook page, I believe, is 240. Yeah. Loverna Veg is 240. The Loverna Shares and Delivery Room, which is where I function everything out of here, just by posting Friday, delivering Sunday. They send me a personal message of what vegetables that I have available, what they want of that, and we do our best to fill every order. You know, when you're doing 20 people a week, 20 families, so it alternates. 20 people 1 week on one route, and 20 families the next week on the next route. Not one single person has had a complaint about anything. Not about the food, not about the shortages that we might run into. Because, I mean, you know, nature provides what nature provides.
Yeah.
And this week it may not be quite as well as next week. But overall, I don't think there's one single person that we're working with that has shares this year that isn't completely satisfied. To the best of my knowledge. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, they know you're not a big corporation. You're not, you know, Kroger or Walmart or, you know, they know that, right? And they know that what they're getting from you is fresh. So, you know, if I'm missing 5 or 6 green peppers out of my order, I'm not going to really complain if I get, you know, 2 or 3 extra ears of corn instead, because I know it's all fresh and I know that there's a good reason for it.
Right. Well, like the shares are $100 for 100 pounds throughout the season. So from the start of the season to the end of the season, we guarantee that there's 100 pounds for you. It may not always be exactly what you want, but as to the very best of our ability, that is what you get.
Uh-huh.
And for this spring, for instance, we bit a big bullet and put in an irrigation system for the whole works.
Oh, great. And you could afford that this time around.
Well, what it was is we spent the last winter working away from the acreage, saved up every penny we could. The shares come in it was 44 shares went out this year, so 44 families, and their $4,400 was put in the pot with our savings for the winter, and we got it done. No, it's not profitable yet, but the infrastructure is being built.
Right. And you're building it basically from the ground up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
No pun intended.
No, but like literally, we've built absolutely everything here. We built our house. We've built the garage. We built a windmill house, windmill solar house. And this is the same thing. We basically put our feet on the ground and our hands busy and get it done. So yeah, it only took us about 1 week to put in the whole irrigation system.
That's not bad for that size. Did you buy a commercial one, or did you create one of your own design?
No.
Or?
I went to eBay and I bought this and I bought that and I bought a roll of emitter lines and stuff as reasonably as we possibly could. So we ended up commercially. I checked out, and the commercial one was $30,000. We done it for $6,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you basically built the same thing that would have cost $30,000 if you would have had someone do it for
correct.
$6,000.
Yes, right. Yeah, so it's just gravity feed off of tanks, and the emitters emits a little drop every 8 inches down the line, and it just trickles out. And we get about 4 hours of emission on one fill.
And are you on a well?
No, we're hauling from a freshwater slough for the gardens.
Okay. So you have your water brought in.
We haul it.
You haul it.
Yes, we haul it.
Oh my. Okay, so we're really talking healthy food here.
Oh yeah, no. If it's not going to be, it's not worth doing.
Yeah.
I would shut it down tomorrow if I had to do that.
Yeah.
We found ways, we found old ways, we found new ways for pest control, for when you grow radishes without any control, you get little worms coming through them.
Yeah.
We took and we sprinkled a little bit of our wood stove ash down the row, experimented a little bit, works perfectly. So,
and it gets rid of them.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really a major problem, I would think, is pests.
It is in natural growing. You're dealing with nature.
Mm-hmm.
Nature's creatures want it just as much as we do.
Yeah, I remember the deer in my tomatoes. I used to get so upset. I even planted a little bit of tomato outside of the garden so that they would go to that instead of my garden. And then I read somewhere that you could plant marigolds around your garden, and the smell of it kept them away.
We have marigolds.
Uh-huh.
And for the most part, we don't have rabbit problem.
Mm-hmm.
But they completely wiped out 500 and some strawberry plants. They didn't kill them, but they ate them.
Oh my!
All in one night.
Oh so no!
We scrambled, and
I'll bet you did.
We got a whole bunch of frameworks put together and some netting on it. Went to 7 different stores to get enough netting because nobody carries enough, and yeah.
Wow.
So now we have all those plants ready for a greenhouse.
Great. And okay, so you're going to expand into greenhouse, or you're going to
Oh,
move to
absolutely.
greenhouse. Okay. And do you have that in the works, or in the
Yes, it's in
planning
the works.
stages, or what? Okay.
It's a little beyond planning.
A little beyond planning.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And are you going to do the traditional greenhouse type stuff that everybody else does, or do you have your own idea as to how you want to do it?
Well, I built the prototype greenhouse. We used it this summer
Oh, okay. Out of what?
out of plastic straw bale
Uh-huh.
or wheat. Oh, let me think here. How do I word that? There's great big plastic bags that they put their wheat into for storage
Mm-hmm.
instead of grain bins. They can't use them twice.
Oh, okay.
So here you've got this really heavy plastic, white on one side, black on the other, 250 feet long and 30 feet wide for free.
And where do you get that from?
Any farmer that's using it, because they can't use it twice.
Okay. And
And they charge them to take them away.
wow. So you
So
take them and you get them for free.
right. So a simple framework. Most of the greenhouse gets covered with that. A few sheets of greenhouse glass, and you've got a greenhouse. We took it a lot further. I put a solar panel on. I put the pumps on 12-volt pumps for watering everything. I put a heat control system in it and a car radiator fans. So it completely looks after its own.
Car radiator for fans.
Yeah.
I never would have thought of that. Yeah,
Well, it's all 12 volts, so that's what I went with.
I see. Okay, because it's a solar.
Right. So
Okay,
we've got a 12-volt solar, we've got a 12-volt battery, and we've got 12-volt fans and a 12-volt pump.
awesome. And
And
so
we've got
you,
it's all automatic.
oh, okay.
When
Everything is
the
automatic.
humidity drops to a certain point, the pump kicks in, re-waters the plants. When the temperature gets too high, the fans kick in and cool down the greenhouse.
Do you have pictures of this on your Facebook page?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Good. I'm going to be dropping links below this article in this interview as to how to get a hold of Wade and to see all of his stuff. Wade's on mobile right now, so it would be hard for us to get to there and share a screen. I don't know that he would be able to see it quite well, so I'm just going to put the links in there, and that way you guys can click on those links and support Wade and his wife any way you can, and check out what they're doing. I'm blown away, actually, by the creativity. And we all have that. We just forgot.
I believe that. I believe that totally.
We just forgot because we got distracted. We got busy, and we forgot what we already know. I mean, I when I go through the news now or discover a new thing, which is supposed to be a new thing, I think,
Right.
this is stuff that I know that we already know.
Wait a minute.
We just forgot. We just forgot.
Exactly.
So, we all have this creativity inside of us in one way, shape, or form. It's just a matter of what it is we choose to do with it. So,
For sure. And you know what? If you don't know something, somebody does.
true.
There's no such thing as complexity.
No, there really isn't. I mean, we make it that way.
Yes.
Sometimes,
Well,
it's just
they
us.
make it that way by hiding stuff.
Yeah.
They hide it in patents. You get a patent and you keep it secret so that the complexity of that can't be known when you're just duplicating it out.
Right. And then somebody will buy the patent off of you, and then all of a sudden it disappears.
Yeah.
And then nobody is ever the wiser because they can afford to just buy it and not do anything with it. And of course, it's hidden from the public that way. I mean, I go through Google Patents every now and then. The last one I posted was the one, remember in the 60s, you probably remember this, when they were talking about subliminal programming.
Right.
And they actually had the words that were coming through, but you couldn't really see them. It was analog programming. Now that they have digital, of course, it's EMF waves.
Oh, of
And
course, yeah.
this patent, I couldn't believe it. They even showed how the waves go through, and they go through your brain, they go through your heart, they go through your stomach, and they determine which areas of your body are going to affect what and how strongly it's going to affect them. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I haven't watched TV in 10 years. People are always asking me, did you see this show? No, I don't watch TV. Now, I am in front of a laptop a lot, and I am connected to wireless internet a lot. So, but still, I'm not taking in the television crap.
Right.
And I guess you guys don't have time for that anyway.
Well, we're not without anything here.
Yeah.
If we wish to, we will. As far as the energies that you receive from them, if you for me, I just tell myself there's nothing they can do without my permission, so I just don't give it.
Number one, yeah.
That, mind control is something I honestly believe you have to give your permission to.
Yeah, I would think so. And you also have to, inside of yourself, consent to it, whether knowingly or unknowingly. I look back at, the religious upbringing and that kind of stuff. It's all, right. But I was a kid then. I had to forgive myself for all of that stuff. Now that I'm an adult, I had to forgive myself. I was just a kid. I didn't know any better. I didn't know. And now, no, I would never consent to the same things that I did then.
No, of course not.
I was just talking to a few friends of mine who were still getting we're still getting questions on the ITNJ, and I think this is over with now, we're moving on. Right. But people are still trying to wrap their heads around, that particular, I guess it had a savior factor to it or something that they instantly connected to, which is great.
Well, certainly, when you think about where most people live now, which is inner cities, what would you expect they would be looking for? You've got a little apartment, no place to grow your own food, nowhere to be free. Of course, that's what you'd be looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hearing all these articles now, move out of the city, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, all the fear is going on. And, I say, talk to Wade and go in your backyard and get yourself a shovel and grow yourself some carrots.
Absolutely.
Just do that. Get your hands in the dirt
and just don't consent to fear.
Right.
The same way as you wouldn't consent to whatever else you find wrong. Fear is just another thing.
Right. It is. And it's something that they feed off of.
Right. When I went through cancer, I had no fear. I just had to find something natural and logical that would counteract what was happening. So I done a little research. 3 years, maybe 4 years now, cancer-free. Tested every year.
Beautiful.
Apricot kernels. That's what I found.
And that can be basically in your own backyard, if not someone else's.
Right. Well, anything that I know of in the seed family and other things has vitamin B17 in it. So if it's sour, it's going to help you counteract things like cancer in that.
Which is what they used to call Laetrile, I believe.
Laetrile, yes.
Laetrile, and then it became such a bad thing.
Yes, because
don't take Laetrile.
It's a poison.
Yes.
Well, I'm living testament that it is not a poison.
Yes, and to them it was.
I can't testify to Laetrile, but I can testify to the B17 effects from apricot kernels.
There you go.
That's my testament towards it.
Yeah.
Now, all I've ever told anybody is this works for me. This worked for me. Try it.
Really. Not only
Yes.
try it, but grow it. Grow it for somebody else
Well, certainly.
who might be able to use it.
Certainly. If you're in a climate that can grow it, get it out there, distribute it.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
We have some amazing things growing in the greenhouse here on the farm, and we're in the pretty much the middle of the United States. And there are some things, of course, that don't really naturally grow out in the field too well. So those are and there's lemon tree. There's a certain type of corn that would get eaten up right away, if we put it out in the garden. There's all kinds of things that are growing there. I think there's even a strain of some type of tobacco, which I've never even seen before, much less grown. But anyway, all of those things can be grown in a greenhouse, and those things are kind of in demand. In the wintertime, someone's going to be looking for a fresh lemon.
Right, exactly.
It's going to be out of that greenhouse. So those things are like gold. Now, when I didn't have the time for the garden, I put a window. What do they call them? They came out of the window.
Window box.
Yeah, just a window box. That's
okay. Yeah.
Duh, very simple. But anyway, I put herbs there, and I could at least grow those. And I grew oregano and basil and things like that, and I would just pluck it and let it sit out and dry and use it. And I'm telling you, it was awesome. So even when I didn't have the big garden, I was able to do that at least. So you can do that even in an apartment.
Correct.
I had a garden that I was using, and it's probably not a good thing to do anymore, but I was growing herbs in the wintertime just to see if I could do it under some grow lights.
Right. Yes.
And I was able to do that, and it was actually down in my basement.
Sure.
But that's how badly I wanted to see if I could. I just wanted to see if I could do it. Okay, can this chick from the city, who doesn't really know what she's doing but loves dirt, loves to play in the dirt, can she actually do this? And I was triumphant. I admit it. I was able to do it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, though. My kids thought I was crazy, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's part of the parent-kid relationship. It's fun.
Yeah.
They can think you're crazy until they understand that, wait a minute, this is something Mom used to do and I can do it too.
Exactly.
At some point.
Exactly. It's funny. I was just talking to my daughter today, and she lives in another state, and I don't get to see her that often, maybe once or twice a year. And she has my grandson, and she's saying, "Oh, Mom, I don't know what I'm going to do. And, I feel so overwhelmed and all this stuff." She kind of had the mommy blues. And I said, "Hey, do you remember when we used to do this and when we used to do that?" And one of those things was being in the garden and, playing in the dirt. And I said, there was a time when I was so smart. You worshiped me. And then all of a sudden you woke up one day and I was the dumbest person on the planet.
Correct. Yep.
And I said, now you're calling me because you have an issue that I might be able to help you with. So I'm not so dumb anymore, am I? She just laughed. It made her feel better, just realizing that we come for full circle like that. It's just... I enjoy talking to her for that reason, because I can point those things out to her and I can actually enjoy them too and kind of be like, I told you so. But anyway, we're getting off the subject. Self-sufficiency all the way. You are now attracting attention from other people who would like to do what you're doing or live like you live or help you. Or
certainly we're getting lots of attention.
Okay.
The realization of the volume of work that it takes is a bit off-putting for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, probably.
That's the same thing. You never know what the seed is going to do.
Yeah.
So you always share it. Whether there's an outcome immediately or down the road, you've shared it. Where will it go? Who knows?
Right.
Will it become an urban garden instead of a rural setup like we have? Possibly. But nevertheless, it's all worth it.
So are people asking you what you're doing or how you're doing it, or are they actually wanting to come and get some land there and actually help you?
We have those. We
Okay.
definitely have those that would like to come here, that would like to participate, and that is where the cooperative comes in.
Okay.
That's the next phase of what we're doing is Loverna Co-op Food Cooperative, um, where we integrate the consumer, the producer, in a win-win situation.
Okay. Gotcha. So people can actually come there then, and I guess bring their RV or whatever, their place to live,
Certainly.
and actually participate in what it is that you're doing.
Right.
Maybe plant a little garden of their own to start off with to see if they can handle it, which is probably what I would do to see how much I
Well,
could handle
the
if I
thing
had never
is
done it
that
before.
the idea of the cooperative is you don't have to grow your own garden if that's not your passion.
Okay.
Maybe your passion is chickens, right?
Uh-huh.
So the cooperative helps you get it set up with chickens.
Okay.
Now you have eggs and possibly meat that's naturally looked after. That's in its natural state.
Yeah, and not sitting in little
So
cages being sick. Yeah.
so now you don't have to grow a garden because there's already a garden in the cooperative. Say it's Loverna Veg. Maybe there's others too, but um, what we have is just on paper.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't need to be a cash flow situation. Now, the people that live in town that have shares and stuff that can't participate as much, our model is half price.
Oh.
You can eat the best of food from a what would I call it? From a healthy food chain
Mm-hmm.
at half price.
Yeah.
Now, the producer, say us, we're at the point where when this is in full production for 100 people, then we're at the point where we can have a living wage, as well as the best of foods, as well as living the lifestyle that we want.
That's great. It's hard work.
Oh, yes.
It's not easy work. It's backbreaking work, in fact, at times. But
That's
you are working to simplify that with the irrigation for one thing. And
absolutely.
how do you handle all the weeds? That's another question that just came up in my head.
13 and a half miles of being on your hands and knees this season.
Wow. Is there any way to make that? Do you have any plans down the road to make that a little easier on yourselves?
Yeah. The right now we're growing everything in multiple rows, which gives you just about 2 feet that you have to completely weed by hand. With the greenhouses, we can take the gardens back to single rows, in which I can get to easily with cultivation and that kind of stuff. So we'll make that workload drop into maybe 10% of what it is,
Mm-hmm.
just by introducing the greenhouses. Where you're working at a comfortable level all the time.
Yeah. That would have to be very difficult. We've been talking to the people that own the farm that I'm living on now. It's Native American sovereign land. They have
Okay.
120 acres, and their biggest issue right now is getting help to work the farm.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they're needing to sell off some of the livestock that they have, and some of the sheep and that kind of thing. They have sheep, horses, cows, chickens, rabbits, all kinds of stuff. But they've had to cut back because they can't seem to get any help, with the farm.
Right. Now,
And they need hands and
what
bodies.
immediately comes to my mind
Mm-hmm.
is 12 10-acre plots.
Yes.
That is 12 people doing production into a cooperative, coming to an agreement of, say, I don't know, 5 years production goes to the cooperative. That's what our model is.
Mm-hmm.
5 years go to the cooperative. Distribution is looked after by the cooperative, so that when you're the producer, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like us, we do it all right now. We do the producing, we do the harvesting, and we do the deliveries.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
with the cooperative, that'll allow us to do what we do.
Yeah.
Have a living wage, and take this anywhere we want it to go. The cooperative can have honey, it can have pigs, it can have chickens, it can have sheep, it can have beef, it can have buffalo, it can have vegetables, it can have spices, it can have down to I read an article today that all cotton clothing is now GMO, or
yeah, it's coated.
Huge percentage is GMO. Well, let's look at that within the cooperative concept, and let's get somebody who has a passion for making clothes with decent materials.
Well, I remember when we were talking the other day, I want to mention this too. We met a man at an expo. It was a prepper expo. But he came to speak, and he was talking about hemp. He was wearing hemp clothing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
And he's growing hemp. And they have the ability now to take the hemp and make it into cloth. All they need now is someone to sew it up. And he said, do you know anyone that will do that? Because we would get the cloth and, and all of it would be a wonderful business for someone to get into.
Absolutely.
But you need, people that are willing to do the sewing. And the clothes that they had on were they look like Dockers, just like stuff that you would buy at the Gap or something. And the stuff, it breathes in the summertime and it insulates you in the wintertime. And he said, he was wearing like an over jacket, I guess what you'd call. He said, this is what I wear in the winter in Colorado. He said, I don't need anything else. He said, this hemp is so warm. He said, I actually get hot if I put a regular, down coat on over it. He said, after a while, I'll get hot. He said, I have to take it off. So if we had, if there were people that, and that there's people now that are on the move, more people are becoming transient or nomad-like because they've been displaced or they're trying to find where they belong. And your place is one place to go. There are farms everywhere that people will for in exchange for room and board the first year. You can come and you work their garden or you work their farms and you do what they need you to do. You can also learn how to do that for yourself on your own farm. Plus you have your room and board. And then after, I think this one offers a 2-year apprenticeship.
Okay.
So you stay for 2 years and you learn whatever it is that you choose to learn that they will show you. And that is your trade. And then you take that. And now you are put in a trust for Native American land for a land of your own. And I think they're saying it's 10 to 15 acres right now.
Yeah,
so after 2 years, they have their own farmland, free and clear.
Unreal. That's fantastic.
It's very simple concept, but it entails a different way of living for people and a different paradigm of thinking.
Right.
And that is, this is not going to kill me to get in the ground and actually do some work.
Exactly.
Now, there's things at the farm that I could probably be doing every day, but this is what I do. I'm getting out what it is that they're doing.
Right, exactly.
And working with that. We're going to start working with quail, I think, and I did spend a couple of days learning a little bit about the quail. Fascinating stuff. But now what I want to do is get that information out. So now the quail you can have in small areas because that's what they're bred for. And the eggs are very much in demand. Because they have 3 times the protein as a chicken egg.
Right, right.
They're smaller, so it takes twice as much, but they have 3 times the
Mhm.
protein and 3 times the nutrients in there. And of course, when they're
Right.
fed well and not fed the crap, that Purina quail chow, if you don't feed
Yes.
them that and you feed them natural
Yeah.
stuff, what they're supposed to be eating, you're going to get good meat from them, and you're going to get good
Mhm.
eggs and good production. So that's one of the things. Tilapia is another one. In a lot of parts of the country, you can grow tilapia in a 150-gallon tank. And also, I don't know if you've seen these or not. You probably already have it in your head, if not. But it was a tilapia farm, but it was inside of a greenhouse, and it was
Right.
actually, the water was actually running through and misting all the plants and coming back in and recycling itself, and with just very little intervention from the outside. I thought that was very cool. So,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's kind of what I would call a small space thing, but it was also heating and humidifying the greenhouse in the wintertime at the same time. And I thought that was really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Your internet's cutting out just a little bit here. I'm going to shut down everything that I have. I think you're back now.
Well, I think it's more to be, not what. Okay. These things and go, wow. But really, why not?
Yeah, why not is right. I mean,
You know?
restaurants love tilapia, and they love fresh tilapia. They love fresh mushrooms and fresh herbs and things, and they will pay
Right.
dearly for them. We
Right.
had people here a couple years ago. The story is, they elderberries are very much in demand, and
Okay.
a 10-acre plot of elderberries will
Hmm.
produce
Hmm.
$100,000 a year,
Okay.
because these people came to the farmers and said, "We'll buy everything that you got because
Right.
we need this."
Exactly.
Only problem is, you have to pick elderberries by hand.
Yes.
10 acres that's a lot of people that would have to go in there and do that. But you know what? For $100,000 a year, you get enough people to do that. They're all sharing in the profits. Plus, they're getting their room and board. Plus, in 2 years they can have 10 acres of their own to work if they want it
Right.
for free and clear.
Right.
So people don't realize that these programs are out there, and they don't realize that it's really that simple. A business plan. It's very simple.
It really is. And like, let's take Laverna. Sue, you want to raise tilapia, right? Okay.
Sounds
How
good to
much?
me.
How much land do you need?
I don't need
I mean,
anything.
given the idea that Laverna Veg is going to have surplus, you can't help but have surplus. There's always going to be some,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
How much do you think Laverna Veg is going to try and charge you for the surplus that you can feed to them? Nothing.
I was going to say,
Nothing.
why would you?
Nothing. Why would we charge for that?
Yeah.
Why would we put that burden on you just to have you put that burden back on us when we want to get the tilapia?
Well, yeah.
The working model is that we just work together.
Yes.
What
And
we have access of, you're free to use.
exactly. That is not the standard business model, is it?
Oh, it isn't.
At
But
least not the one we're used to.
I guarantee you, if I walked into a bank with the Laverna Veg model, I would be laughed out.
Oh, yeah. They would say you're crazy. You're not going to make any money at this.
You're nuts. Well, life is not just about that. Not about profit. Do we still, at this point, need a little something, even if you're living the least you can do? Yeah, we still need a little bit. But now, say that you did come out here and you had 4 lots. That's $1,000 from the county. That's what they charge for them, $250 a lot. So you got your 4 lots. We got a spare trailer here. Your first summer's looked after. The cooperative says, okay, we really want to have this within our cooperative. We want this. We want this. So they say, okay, do us up a cost for you to get started. Okay? So you're automatically automatic cost is what, $1,000 for the land. No rent for the trailer. No cost for vegetables, because you're going to come give us a handful and some weeds or whatever, right?
Right. So I
The
have,
cooperative supplies you with all the birds. You get from Loverna Solar, we enter an agreement for your solar needs as a trade, as a small amount, as small as it can possibly be. You come over, we show you how to make solar panels. We put up the solar panels and we work together. Now you're off grid. You have zero cost because the cooperative has said, we'll cover these costs, because you are in turn telling us that for 5 years, the cooperative will get your produce.
it doesn't get any better than that.
Now, the consumer, on the other hand, in the cooperative, is getting everything that they have. Everything on their plate is half price.
And it's
to
healthy.
anywhere else that you can get natural food.
Yeah, and it's healthy food.
This is the thing. Once they experience it, what do you think their neighbor's going to hear?
Right.
How quickly is there another 100 people set up with another cooperative?
Right.
Setting up the same model somewhere. It doesn't have to be Loverna. There's lots of old ghost towns around that you can pick up for, little value, but what can they be turned into?
Yeah, and really, once you're off grid, or you have that ability, you really do have a little bit more freedom as far as
Absolutely,
choosing
you do.
where it is that you live. So that's
Absolutely.
probably, so let's say I was going to do this, and I was going to not necessarily come to your place, but let's say I want to do it in my area.
Right.
What's the first thing, what's the priorities here that I would need to think of to do this in a way that I don't fall on my face the first 6 months? What do you suggest as the expert here? The number one thing I guess I need to know before I do this.
I think you actually come up with the answer for that one. Find somebody who needs you. Right?
Okay.
Find a farm. Find somebody who's in need of your help, of need of your labor. It doesn't matter if you're making $25 an hour like you would have been accustomed to in town, paying all the crap. You don't need that. You don't have that need anymore.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if you go to work for a farmer, they'll purchase for you solar panels, that kind of stuff, because they can write them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can trade instead of all this money going back and forth, and then there's 72 places where they take a little pinch out of it every time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just eliminate them. But you have the answer to that question, really. 120 acres sitting there, they need help. Mm-hmm. What do you need to bring? Your energy?
Yeah, on my heart. And I think she said my favorite. I said, what do I need to bring? She says, your favorite coffee cup.
Yes.
She said, that's really all you need. Your favorite coffee cup.
There you go.
So I didn't even bring that, and I already found a favorite coffee cup here. Mm-hmm. But it's been quite an experience, and I told him, I said, I don't know if I can live this kind of life, to tell you the truth. I don't know if I was mentally ready. Right. I even took a couple months, and I came down to visit, every now and then, just to get a feel, because at the farm there's little internet. It's very metered there, so I have to come in town to use the internet there. Mm-hmm. That's an inconvenience, but I wake up in the morning listening to roosters, and I can sit on the porch and drink my coffee and look at the lake and go, if I want to. So that's pretty cool too. So I even got a picture of a herd of sheep going through my driveway. It was so
Excellent.
funny, but it was beautiful at the same time. I had to get a picture of it to show everybody. Look, I got sheep in my driveway. They're accosting my car. There was a calf, a bull calf, and he was so cute because we had some guests over the summertime, and we had one of those portable things that you put up, the canopy thing, and then there was a few tables and things like that around. There were a group of about 25 of us, I guess, that would get together in the evening. But anyway, he loved to come out and take his little horns and pull up the tables
Oh,
after we
yes.
walked away. And it was just hilarious. It was just because they roam around because they cut the grass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course when they go to the bathroom, they fertilize it at the same time. So
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
a beautiful
There you
thing.
go.
So yeah, I've got horses, sheep, cows, to go through, and 6 dogs. But I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
It's all good. So it's not. It's way different than what I'm used to. But the point is, I have been able to connect with the basics in life,
Mm-hmm.
and learn to do without things that I thought I don't know if I can live without that. I don't know if I
Right.
can live without there was a place I used to go to get my rice and vegetables and all of this stuff at night every now and then. I don't know if I can live with that place not down the street anymore. Well, I make it now. So, I'm dealing. But the trade-off is pretty cool. It really is.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And
You
I
don't
can't,
go. You really don't go back.
I don't really want to
Like,
go, even if I went back physically, I don't think mentally I could go back.
yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. That's what I'm referring to. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean,
if
two,
I mean,
two years ago, I would
if
have
I
never
had,
connected with people like you, you know?
if I had to go back to a town or something, my God, they would hate me. I'd be trying to feed the town.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, this is what you're doing, and you
I'd
are.
I'd be hammering on the table at the town meeting saying, you got land here, urban. Where's our garden?
Yeah, absolutely. I know you
So
would at this point because it's in you now,
oh,
you know?
absolutely.
And this is why I want to do interviews like this because, yes, it's different, but no, it's not the end of the world, and no, it's not the hardest thing to do. And what you're doing is affecting your community in such a positive way just by doing your own thing and what you set out to do.
You
And
know
that's
that
just
that
too cool.
that you have to just accept that what you're doing is a seed. You
Yes.
know, the 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 reward may never be obvious completely.
Yeah.
So, but you're setting up the next generation, aren't you? I mean, you're trying to do something that'll be there for them.
Absolutely. And a healthier way to live, and the tools. They don't teach kids how to do this now.
Well,
But your
if we don't come
grandkids,
out
when
of,
they come out, they learn, don't they?
oh, absolutely. Um, the 2 teenagers, typical. Didn't like pulling the weeds, didn't like to work in the gardens, whatever. So what I done is I sent one to one garden, one to the other. I said, go pick this, and this. And the other one to the other garden said, pick this, and this. They come back in. I said, okay, wash it all. Clean it up, chop it up. We just threw it all in one pan with some really nice garlic sausage. And when they sat down that night and they ate what they had created, a light bulb went on. I said, so now how bad is pulling a few weeds when you've created this from it? And from that moment on, not a complaint. It's been a wonderful experience. I hope for them and us.
Uh-huh. That's it, the teenagers. I just wonder, and that's a very good way to handle that, I think.
There's, what reward is there in pulling weeds and your back hurts?
Yeah.
Well, the food. So you have to
Yeah.
make that connection. What we're putting in our bodies, what the flavors that you can achieve with this food. And the second that they realize that, the complaining, whatever was gone.
That's great.
So I think us adults can do the same thing. Maybe we need to experience some things before we discard them.
Absolutely. That's a good way to put it.
Like I have no experience doing these shows, but if I don't put it out there, well, who am I doing it for?
Well, you're already doing it in your community, but yes,
Right,
putting it out there really, really draws attention to the fact that it won't kill you. It's a good
right,
thing,
exactly.
and
Hmm.
anybody can do it.
Yes, exactly.
You don't have to have a college degree, and you don't have to have, letters behind your name as a title. You
Certainly
can
not.
just do it. Anybody can. And that's the point that I want to make. Not only that, but how phenomenal and how much I admire you for what you and your wife are doing for your
Well,
community
thank you. Thank you. I
and
mean,
for our future, because you're a walking example, a living example that this can be done. We can make our communities healthy. We can actually so compete with the supermarkets with all the GMO stuff to the point where I would imagine they're going to be knocking.
not only,
They're going.
not only can we compete,
Uh-huh.
we can show them a new way, and they're going to say, we can't compete with that for sure. Maybe we better change our model.
Exactly. We'll buy from them rather
I,
than
I,
these
I wouldn't
guys.
I wouldn't sell to a corporation if they offered me $1 million a year.
You wouldn't at all?
It's not the model I want. It's
Gotcha.
it
Would you sell to a local store, like a mom and pop store that's there? Like, say there was a grocery store there and that's the only place they could get their stuff?
certainly.
Okay, gotcha. So it's not the
You know.
corporate model, and I totally get that. I totally get that.
However, there would be something put in there that if things are not labeled and they have an awareness, that they would label it themselves.
Yeah,
If a grocery store wanted the natural produce that we do, and we agreed to that, they would have to agree to labeling what they can find out or what they know.
gotcha. There is also a little known law that I just was pointed to, and I haven't done the research yet, but when I do, I'm going to put it out there. The word organic, of course, we know is a created word that
Yes,
supposedly is supposedly natural, but is not. It fools the public. But
right, right.
you can grow your own stuff and put any word you want in front of it,
Certainly you can. Yeah,
and then it becomes yours.
right.
So a lot of people don't realize that. I sure didn't, and not because I didn't know that everybody else doesn't, but I'm sure that there are some people out there that don't realize that, so that they can actually take their stuff to market. And if they put a word in front of organic, then they can sell their products the way they want to and
Hmm.
also actually brand them.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's good to know for people who really do want to make a living at this, because you can certainly make a good living at this if you want to. I know what you're doing is a project of the heart, but I know what it's going to lead to, and you're working with universal energies and what's good for all, and you are not going to fail. You will
we'll,
not.
we'll only fail if the back gives out. But I mean, until then, we'll plug along.
And
There's
by then,
no.
I'm sure you're going to have a lot of help once we get this out here. You'll probably get some contacts, hopefully, that that
Well, that
will.
would be sweet because I really do believe that we could put a lot of producers into a position to be able to do what they love to do.
Yeah,
You love to raise bees. Let's see what we can do about that. As a cooperative.
yeah,
Rather than you having to go to a government loan agency or because they have those wonderful places that you can go to get loans for small business, right? I
right.
don't know. Do you have that in the States or not?
It's called the Small Business Association,
Okay, all right. So yeah,
but I think they just quit giving out loans about 6 months ago. I heard they were like out of money.
yeah,
Uh,
they're out of money. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh, but
But there
what
are things you can do, to raise funds to do what it is you need to do.
Right. The model is that you don't have to do that.
Right.
The consumer is getting great value of the cooperative. The producer, if what you're looking for is a way to fulfill your passion for something and make a living wage, then this is the model.
Yeah.
What is our living wage here for us is maybe $1,000 a month Canadian, yeah, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Well, if this was a corporate model, corporate garden figured out in this way, our monthly needs for paying back loans and all this kind of crap, we would be looking at $40,000 a year just to break even, just to come above water.
Yeah. On that scale, I would say so. That makes sense.
Because the second that we walk into a bank and they accept that you're going to get this loan, then there's cardicals with that loan. You have to have this insurance, you have to have that insurance, and you have to have new equipment, and you
have
can't
to
possibly.
You have to protect the bank.
Oh, absolutely. You need to do all this stuff, which increases the loan by, 90% more than it needs to be.
Yep, and then you're saddled with the maintenance and the fuel and all of those
things
that go on with it. Not only that, but they're loaning you money that doesn't exist.
Right, exactly.
They're loaning you debt.
You and I know that.
Right.
Not everybody does.
No, they don't.
Not everybody's aware of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And okay.
This way, you're not supporting the banks. You're not supporting, the big power companies. You're not supporting the big grocery stores. You're supporting yourselves and you're supporting the community at the same time and setting a stellar example for your grandchildren and your children and the community and me. Definitely.
Just hopefully, some of those seeds dropped. That would be very, very nice.
Yeah. We're going to make sure that they do. I want to check in with you in at least a couple months and see, or let me know if anything cool happens, and we'll put that out there too, because I want to keep in touch with you. It's been an awesome interview, and I just love what you're doing, and I so appreciate the example that you're setting for the rest of us.
There's a very much a mutual respect there, Sue.
Well, thank you very much. And we're going to keep getting these stories out, everybody. And again, this is Wade Lillico. And I'm going to put his Facebook page, his contact information down. And please go visit and like his Facebook page. What is the name of it again?
Loverna Veg.
Loverna Veg, V-E-G, right?
Loverna VEG, period.
Okay, great. All right, and I'll put that in with the article. And it's been a pleasure talking to you, and we are going to talk again.
Mutual, for sure.
Okay, thank you, Wade, so much.
You're welcome, Sue.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.